What's up, everyone? Back for another beer review, and today is Halloween, so happy Halloween to everyone out there. But because it's Halloween, it also means it's the 10th and final day of the 4th annual 10 Days of Pumpkin here on the channel. To close out this year's 10 Days of Pumpkin, I will be reviewing somewhat of a bucket list beer, a little bit, to some degree, and it comes from the Flying Dog Brewery, and they are out of Frederick, Maryland, and this is The Fear. So they're calling this one an Imperial Pumpkin Ale, and below it, it says ale brewed with pumpkin and spices. It comes in at 9% alcohol by volume, 45 IBUs on the time of review. I don't know exactly how old this bottle is because the bottled on date, they have a little spiel at the bottom that they usually use for freshness. It says, for optimal freshness, enjoy by. Typically, it would have a best by date. No, it doesn't. It just says a vintage 21F. So whatever that means, at least we know this is the 2021 vintage, so it is the newest release from them. I'd imagine this is not older than 3 months old, like most of the beers that I've been reviewing during the 10 Days of Pumpkin, so we should be fine. Anyway, like I said, kind of a bucket list beer for me. Not in the vein that like it's really tough to get or anything. We've been getting Flying Dog distribution here in the West New York area for almost 10 years. It's just, I've never really seeked it out, and a couple years it hasn't shown up nearby. And when I saw it this year, I was like, you know what? I'm getting it. I'm grabbing it. We're going to review it during 10 Days of Pumpkin, so here we are. Now, I've seen so many reviews of this beer over the years, and I can look at it, and I don't know how it's going to come off on camera, but I can see it's a darker beer. This one, I've heard it referred to as like a black pumpkin IPA. I've heard it referred to as like an imperial like pumpkin porter, things of that nature. They're using darker malts in this one, and the pumpkin and spices, I don't know what spices they're using. Typically, pumpkin spices are cinnamon, nutmeg, ginger, and clove, and then sometimes allspice. But they do brew this one with real pumpkin. On the side here, we'll read the spiel real quick, and then we'll go into it. It says, why is there only one time of year when we embrace the fear? At all other times, the fear dominates us, controls us, and prevents us from greatness. Whatever the fear is that consumes you, learn to embrace it. Only then will the true artist in you rise up. Oh my Lord, like I'm so inspired now. I'll be the best beer tuber of all time. Never gonna happen. Anyway, let's crack this one open and get into classy we got going on. So like I said, it's a beer that I've been wanting to try for a while. I'm curious to see how this one kind of come off. Like I said, I'm expecting a darker looking beer. We will see. Label out. Shout out to a good friend of mine, a fellow beer tuber, Paul over PA Brew News. Label out on the pour. All right, so it's not crazy dark. It kind of gives me like brown ale kind of vibes, or like a very light like porter. So not as crazy dark as can I get the rest of it? Should I get it? Yeah, I'm not gonna pour it all in. We'll wait to the end and then pour it all in. But yeah, so yeah, so on camera, it's probably just gonna look darker, maybe like a dark brown, maybe even black. In person, this straight up looks like Coca-Cola. It looks like I poured a can or bottle of Coke into my glass, and that's what it looks like. It looks like Coca-Cola. It's the best way I can describe it. I'm not gonna go into colors. It looks like everyone, I think, has pretty much had some kind of cola, certainly Coca-Cola. So it looks like Coca-Cola, and even the head, it's now dissipating. It has about a half finger of this like light tan, almost light khaki colored head. Yeah, but it's dissipating quite a bit. So that's what it looks like. It looks like cola in the glass. It looks crazy. Anyway, let's get a nose. Okay, there is some spices there. Ooh, definitely clove and the allspice, kind of leading the way. It kind of smells like cola. It could be my mind playing tricks on me and whatnot, but like I'm getting like a cola kind of vibe to this one. Weird. Underneath that, I'm getting like a slight like roasted kind of malt character, slight like bittering type of like baker's chocolate. What is that? Almost like a woody kind of sensation. Yeah, like a light wood kind of sensation. Over top of that are the spices. They're like just hovering over top of everything. I can tell this is a pumpkin beer because of the spices, but the base is giving me more of like a porter or like a brown ale or some kind of darker beer, for sure. There's a earthy, almost floral kind of hop note to this one. 45 IBUs, probably one of the bigger IBU numbers for most of the pumpkin beers I've been drinking this year. It smells sweet, but it also has that earthy floral kind of hop note, and then the spices that kind of like settle it down a little bit. There's like a little bit of like a cherry tinge in here too. Yeah, it smells different. I don't want to say it smells unique because I feel like I've had Imperial Porters and things before that kind of put this out. But for what I'm doing this year for the 10 Days of Pumpkin, it definitely has a uniqueness about it that kind of I haven't had in a while. So it smells interesting. It smells pretty good. It smells different. It smells like I want to get into it. So cheers, everybody, and appreciate everybody hanging out for the last 10 days. It's been a great time. Next year, we'll be bringing back the 10 Days of Pumpkin because people seem to enjoy them. I like doing it. So yeah, anyway, cheers. Ooh, there's a way big bittering aspect to it than I was anticipating. Huh. The taste did a 180 from the nose for me. That's crazy. This drink's like a hybrid of like a Cascadian Dark Ale, aka a Black IPA, and like an Imperial Porter. And then like you mix those two styles together. Well, I mean, kind of a Black IPA, you know, you want to be more hop forward. It's going to be thinner and whatnot. But this is like an Imperial Black IPA that has pumpkin and pumpkin spice character to it, which I don't think I've ever had in a beer. This is fucking really cool, really weird. It's hard to explain. We'll go body mouthfeel first because that's what I like to do to get it out of the way. Body this one at 9%, bit thin. It's like lower side of medium, around medium, approaching medium. So it has a thin aspect to it, and I kind of thought it was going to be thin just based on the look. It looks like Coca-Cola, like I said. Mouthfeel, it has a good carbonation, but it has like a soft, smooth kind of note to it. Mouthfeel is better than the body for me. The taste right up front, I'm hit with a sweet malt character, and that is omnipresent. It's underlying throughout the entire palate, and it's caramel, it's toffee, it's sweet or dark chocolate, and the caramel and toffee I was not getting in the nose at all, and that's underlying. That's like I said, omnipresent on the palate at all times. Over top of it, though, right at the tip of the tongue, I'm hit with like an allspice and almost like a more of a clove type of spice note. So it carries through the palate, mid palate. That's where I'm hit with those earthy hop, like an earthy, almost dirty type of hop component. And I know that sounds kind of weird, but this is like they're using old school hops in here, or like maybe English hops, something like that. Like, I don't know what they're using for hops, but I would assume like old school hops, old school non like super fruity hops. It finishes with a moderate bitterness, a semi-dry finish. It has enough sweetness from the malt character up front to kind of balance it out, but I think this leans a little bit more bitter than I anticipated for this beer. This beer is kind of a mindfuck in a lot of ways to me. There's a floral aspect there kicking around on the back of the palate too, but this is more like an earthy hop component to it. And I haven't had a hop kick like this in a long time, because this reminds me of like an old school like English hop kick or old school like American pale ale hop kick, something like that. That's not at all really used nowadays in like a lot of the hazies and like newer school like hop forward beers. 9%, like a little bit of warming in chest, nothing on the palate, no astringency, no anything on the palate from 9%. So this is a dangerous beer from that aspect. For me though, this is cool. It's unique. It's fun. It's a different experience. It's something I haven't had in years. Like I said, I've had Imperial Porters before. I've had Imperial Stouts that have pumpkin. But this is more of, I haven't had too many hop forward beers. Like the Forbidden Pumpkin I did this year, which was a hazy from Abomination. That was a cool experience to have like a pumpkin pie meet a hazy double IPA. And it was just fucking really cool. This is kind of that same experience, but it's like an Imperial Black IPA meets a pumpkin pie type of, not even pumpkin, just like a pumpkin spice type of character. So it's fun. It's a fun beer. Is it delicious? Is it like crazy great? Not to my palate. I think this would maybe been a little bit more appreciated from me maybe like 5, 7, 10 years ago. Nowadays, not so much, but at the same time, I can't deny that this is enjoyable and it's different and it's something out of the norm and certainly something different than I've had this year, which makes it a fun experience. So I'm not going to sit here and bullshit you and be like, oh, I love this. It's amazing, blah, blah, blah. I feel like this is the best way I can explain this one to you guys. I think this would be a beer for someone who's maybe not a huge pumpkin person, but they like hop forward darker beers. So black IPAs or like Russian Imperial Stouts or something like that. I think if you like those type of beers, this would be a nice like transition into pumpkin beers for you. Something that has a little bit of spice from the pumpkin spice, but it's not overly sweet. It doesn't have a ton of like the pumpkin pie characteristics or vibes to it. It's like you taste the base beer, which like I said, is akin to like an Imperial Black IPA or something, or like maybe a more hop forward like Imperial Porter. So that is like the dominant note. That is the 80-90% of this beer, and then you get the spices. So I feel like this would be a good beer for somebody like that. Like a good friend of mine and fellow beer tuber Paul over at PA Brew News. I think he doesn't like pumpkin beers really at all, but I think he would appreciate this one. I don't know if you've had this one before. If you have, Paul, let me know what you thought about it. But I feel like that this is a beer that's like not overdone on the pumpkin spices, not overdone on the pumpkin character whatsoever, and the base beer kind of shines. Not going to go crazy high or anything on this, but I think it's fun. So the Fear, their Imperial Pumpkin Ale from Flying Dog, I'm just going to give it a straight 4 out of 5. I think it's a pretty good pumpkin beer, but more of just like a good Imperial hop forward kind of ale, I guess, for lack of a better style or term. It's good. It's hard to explain this one, I think, to people because like I'm having trouble kind of wrapping my head around it. So price and availability on this one. Price point was, I believe these are like 17 or 18 bucks a 6-pack, or maybe they come in 4-packs. I don't know. I think I paid like $3 for that bottle, somewhere in that range, which is fine. It's 9%. Like it's 9%. $3 up for a bottle like that is absolutely fine. Even if I had to pay like $3.54, I'm fine with it. Availability, wherever you see Flying Dog, they're all over the place. We definitely get a lot of their offerings. Like I said, they've been distributing here in the Western New York area for 10 years, so I feel like a lot of people get this one. So not much more to say about this one other than, I want to thank everybody for supporting the channel, certainly over the 10 days of pumpkin. It's a lot of fun. I know I alienate a lot of my viewers because if you don't like pumpkin ales, like the last 10 days, you're probably not watching. But over the next month, we'll be going back to classics. I will say that I'm playing around with thinking about doing a theme month again. I did a theme month a couple years ago. It was well received, so I think I might do another theme month early next year, and it's going to be cool, especially for those of you who like old school beer and not all the crazy styles and popular stuff going on nowadays. So anyway, if you've had this one before, definitely throw in the comment section what you think about it, because I think this beer, more than any other beer I've reviewed this year for the 10 Days of Pumpkin, I want to hear other people's feedback and their thoughts on this one, because I think it's kind of, like I said, it's a mindfuck. It's kind of a different breed of pumpkin beer, and not in a bad way, just in a completely different way. So yeah, not much more to say about it. I appreciate everybody stopping by for another beer review here on the Beer Patrol. To the next one. Cheers and stay safe on Halloween.